guys, how's it going? CoderMan here. I wanted to make a quick video on my 3 years of ownership with the M3, which I'm driving right now. I've featured in a couple of my videos, taken to the track, autocross, done a bunch of stuff with it. And I thought now's a good enough time as any to kind of give my feedback and my thoughts on this car. First off, I bought a 2011 pre-owned through a dealership. It had previously gone through BMW certification. That won't work now. The BMW extended warranty is not transferable anymore unless it's purchased at a BMW dealership. So, definitely take note of that. I had a very specific list that I was looking for the car. At the time, I actually wanted Alpine White. I ended up seeing Space Gray in person and fell in love with it. At the time, a bunch of my friends also had Alpine White, so it made sense for me not to have that. I'm not going to drill down into the actual numbers for cost of ownership. You can look all that stuff up. I will say that it hasn't been a particularly expensive car to own or to maintain. I keep all the services up to date. I have a buddy that owns a independent shop that they work on Euro cars, a lot of BMWs especially, and they do great work and at a fraction of the cost of the dealership. So he does all of my oil changes and brake fluid and all that stuff. If it's a major service or something, like I had to have the differential fluid flushed, that was a little pricey, or it would have been if it wasn't under warranty. I think that came out to like $500 or $600 billed out to the warranty. I had the BMW dealership do that. It was a more involved process, so I felt comfortable bringing it to them. Gas is expensive, you could say, because it takes a lot. If you drive the car the way that it's meant to be driven, it gets like 9 to 11 miles per gallon. But if you're buying this car, you're not buying it to be economical in any sense. It's just fun. It's a fun car. When I was looking, I had test drove the DCT, which is the auto manual, and I liked it. It was fast, but I wanted the kind of the raw visceral experience of driving the car, so I opted for the 6-speed. I'd actually never driven a 6-speed. I learned on this, and I actually never burnt the clutch or slipped the clutch or anything like that. I actually used one of Parker's videos on hill starting and on working with a manual car, which was actually kind of how I got into YouTube to some extent. Other than just watching the occasional video, I really got into the car side of it. And when after I learned, I was like, okay, so I got the basics down. I wanted to do something with this. I actually ended up doing autocross. I think it was my 3rd month of owning the car. And I remember one of the instructors had asked me what my driving skill was. And I was like, well, I've been driving for 5 or 6 years at the time. And however, I've never driven a manual car aside from 3 months ago. And he was kind of shocked in a way, but also intrigued. So my first session, I did horrible. I couldn't get the shifting right. It didn't work. But anyways, that's another video for another time. In terms of maintenance, you have your standard, oil changes, brakes, wheel, tires. BMW recommends that you change the oil every 15,000 miles. I cannot for the life of me understand how that's the proper interval. I do it way more often, especially if I'm tracking the car. I have had the opportunity to bring it to a couple of racetracks. I have a couple videos on the channel here that I'll link to if you haven't seen them. Go ahead and check those out. Let's see, what else? In terms of ownership overall, this is actually subjective, but it's helped my business. And what I mean by that is I've been able to go to car shows and car events, hang out at tracks, and as long as you're somebody that enjoys talking with people and likes being social, it's a great way to kind of get to enjoy a whole new group of people. So I started going to like my local cars and coffee. I couldn't take my Acura, which I had before this. It just wasn't, I could go myself, but I couldn't actually bring it to cars and coffee. And And then I had this, I was able to go, I talked to, fellow enthusiasts, and I actually, believe it or not, got some projects out of it and some long-term relationships. One of the agencies that I work with now was directly because we went on a car event together. We had never really met before that, and over the course of 3 days, we just kind of struck up some conversations and realized that we do some very similar work, and now we've been kind of throwing each other work, so it's been very beneficial. So 3 years of ownership. And what do I like about this car? Well, it's a really fun car to drive. Like I said, I enjoy going to events that are centered around the car, whether it's track, autocross, or anything. It's like I said, it's a driver's car. It's once you learn the basics and you learn the limits, it can be a lot of fun, whether it's a back road, highway, track, whatever. It's a very, it's fairly cost efficient in terms of upkeep and such. I mean, you need to stay on it. The one thing I will say with a BMW or any sort of luxury sport car, if you will, is definitely stay up on the maintenance. Don't neglect it. If you're looking to buy one, definitely price out what the monthly, yearly maintenance is going to be. Tires aren't that expensive, but it's about $1,500 for a set. And if you're tracking it or driving it spiritedly often, you can go through them. I mean, really, you can go through a couple sets a season. I've done it. If you're not driving it as much, then they might last some time. But the biggest thing, the biggest reason that I bought this car was because I had set out a goal that I was going to do XYZ in my business, and the result was going to be I was going to buy this car. So it was kind of like it was motivation. And at that point, it kind of turned into, if I didn't want to work that day or didn't want to do something, I remembered that, well, when you hit this milestone, you're going to be able to go buy this car. There's really not been any regrets or any downsides. Other than like if in traffic you drive a manual car, that kind of sucks. But then you get onto a main road and it's fun again. So, this is like I said, this is kind of just my overview of the 3 years with this car. I'm not sure what exactly I'm going to get next. I am looking at a couple of different cars. I did like the M4 for a while, but I kind of want to go with a different brand. Part of me wants to keep this car, but I'm not sure I want to keep two, higher upkeep cars in the stable. I don't know if that would be the smartest idea, but we'll see. If you guys have any comments or any recommendations or things that I should check out, definitely leave a comment below. And like and subscribe if you're new here, and I'll talk to you guys soon.